Hey, everybody. I am finally here. I want to bring up, let's see if someone can help me because I want to know if you can hear me clearly. Apparently, my microphone is, yeah, I guess it's trash. But I want to know if you can hear me. So I'm going to just add Michael to the stream early and add my other panel to the stream early. If you can hear me, can you please let me know?
I can hear you okay.
And it's fine. It doesn't sound distant or anything.
No, it's good.
Okay, great. Okay. All right. So wait, maybe we didn't need the fancy microphone. Okay, so welcome back. I am your host, Dr. Yaya Marie, and welcome back to Narcissistic. I would like to first say thank you and hi to my listeners on iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are listening on YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, I have a lot of new people listening and things like that. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It definitely helps out. It helps the algorithm and it helps just get the message out there. Just put it out there, like, press the subscribe button, hit that bell, and thank you so much if you did that. Today we are talking about why do the wicked prosper? Why does it seem as if the wicked, aka the narcissist, is prospering? Why is it that they get to cause all this damage and they're just living their life? How? I mean, that is a question that it's a logical question. Why am I over here trying to do good? I'm living right. I'm doing what I need to do. Yet and still, I meet a narcissist. Yes, we all have been there where we make the wrong decision. And now that you got fed up enough, or we got fed up enough, why does it seem as if they are doing well without us? They're prospering without us. Why does it seem that way? Now, while we're looking at why the wicked prosper, we are going to take it scripturally. So it may seem as if the narcissist is being somewhat really out there on the social media. Let's be real. Some of you have probably peeked at their pages, or doing something you shouldn't be doing, and you're like, I wonder what they're up to. And the narcissist knows that. They know that you're peeking or snooping or things like that. So what do? They put on a great show, a really good show, because you have to remember the narcissist has to make it seem as if they are okay without you. They have to make it seem as if they made a good decision by discarding you. They have to make it seem that, not only to smear it in your face, but to also make it seem like they're capable of making good decisions and see, oh, okay, well, yeah, I left so and so because of, how they do the whole smear campaign. So they would leave and make it seem as if you were the problem all along. So they have to make it seem like they have a happy life. Remember, they have to make it seem as if they had a good decision, or they made a good decision by leaving you alone, as if you was the cause of all of their problems. And we already know that is not the case. That is not true. But they put on such a good show for social media. Why? Because they are not going to have the fact that they would have to tell the truth. For example, if the narcissist left you without, they abandon their children, for instance, and I get a lot of people that tell me this. So let's say they abandon their children. They have to lie to their flying monkeys, aka their family, their friends, and everything, to make it seem as if you are the problem. So when they get around the new supply and they're smearing your name through the mud, they have to make it seem as if they're justified in leaving. Does everybody understand or coming? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I'm going to also bring Annie up. Hey, Michael. Hey, Annie. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. I had a little technical difficulties, but I'm here. I'm here. Thank goodness.
Okay.
I mean, this is crazy. If you really, oh my gosh, I have another page where it's just strictly biblical teachings, and the spiritual warfare was so bad that my computer shut off and started blinking, and then all of a sudden the battery went dead, where I had to sit in the corner of my house and finish the show in the corner of my house.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Well, it shows you're doing good work, you know?
Oh my well,
Yeah.
hey, I'll take it. And hey, Jesse, I see you in the chat. But so far, does anyone have anything to add to how the narcissist puts on such a show because they have to make it seem as if they are doing, I mean, wonderful without you?
Well, it shows how fragile their ego really is. You know, that there has to be this illusion where, basically like there is no wrong done. And man, sometimes like the things you say, like it hits you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because you've been there, you feel it. Um, but yeah, I mean, uh, it, it just it's all smoke and mirrors because you know that under the surface there's someone who's very fragile and needs other people to fill them up and to reassure them, and that's the flying monkeys you talk about.
Yeah, and that term is if anybody here listens to Dr. Ramani, I remember listening to her like really back in the day, and I would never forget when she used the term "flying monkey" from like Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And when they have the Wicked Witch send out the flying monkeys, send
Right.
out just the people to monitor what's going on. Hey Diane, just the people to monitor what's going on, and they're putting on a show to impress people who really don't matter. The only thing about it is that they're putting on the show to target you. They're trying to trigger you into thinking, oh well, maybe it was me, or maybe I could have done this different, you
Yes.
know. And hey, Jimmy Eyes, I see you in the chat. How are you? All right, so now let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now, we talked about before how this is a repetitive cycle. This is not just dealing with someone who's a toxic person. A narcissist runs on a cycle where you have to recognize, or the target or the victim has to recognize this cycle. It makes the conscious decision to leave. Um, so, with that being said, you have to realize that you were the light in the narcissist dark world. You were the one that brought forth, the good in their life. A lot of every narcissist is not a bum or dusty, but a lot of them come from places that are, not probably a little lower than what we would expect. That's not everyone, but just some. Also, you have to think you brought that light to their life. So once you leave, that is when the narcissist gets their punishment. And how do I know this? How do I know? So let's take this scripture in Genesis when Abraham, when I say Yahuwah, but you say God or the Lord, when the Lord was getting ready to destroy Sodom, Abraham begged, he begged the Most High to not destroy Sodom. He said, what if there were 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place? The Lord replies, if I find 50, I will, within the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place. To paraphrase, Abraham comes back and says, well, what if you find less than 50? What about 45? And to make a long story short, the Lord's like, okay, well, I'll do it for 45. I haven't found them. And we're getting to Abraham saying, what if you get down to 10? Will you please spare Sodom? And the Lord is like, yes, I will. With that being said, sometimes the Lord will spare the narcissist if he has found a righteous person around them. Sometimes it's you that has to be removed for the narcissist to get their due punishment.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do y'all think about that part?
Wow, that's intense. Like to think
Isn't
about.
it? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it makes you think. It really does. I mean, like, it's like when you're bright, like it's just like if there's a light on at night, it brings all the bugs and all the moths.
Right.
And I feel like that the brighter you are, the more likely you're going to attract that. And like, obviously, like God can't cut down a righteous person to take out a wicked person if that righteous person is covering them, protecting them.
Exactly. Exactly. And I just want to say that it's not that a lot of us have done anything wrong per se or anything like that. Most of the times, what we have done wrong is, we're overlooking red flags, or we're giving too much of the benefit of the doubt. We're letting things slide when we should like just slid on out of there.
Right.
it's it's a point where now that when you're trying to do right, and even when you're not in a state where you're the best, not when you're your best self, let's just be real. Sometimes we don't do all the things right. But the man above who knows the end from the beginning, if he knows that you are around, he will spare that narcissist. He will. Okay, now we have them eyes know. Let me add you to the panel. How are you?
Hi, I was. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm here. I've been having technical difficulties. Goodness.
Oh wow. What the listen, somebody might get held and set free tonight. Let's
Oh
just
my
chop it up to that.
goodness. I don't know
Yeah.
what got me in the chat, but it wouldn't get me live. That was weird. Okay, I'm here. I missed something that you said earlier, but I'll just start. I'll listen and then I'll
Okay.
interject later. Thank you.
Yeah. Now the last point, and if anybody would like to come up and talk, the link is on the banner that you have right there. And tonight's topic is, why do the wicked seem to prosper? So far, we have already went through how where it's a repetitive cycle. And once you get fed up enough, a lot of people that I talk to, I can tell, listen, you're not fed up enough. Because
Mm.
when you're fed up, you are out of there. You don't care what they think, you don't
Mhm.
care what anybody else think. Listen, just get me the furthest. I mean, just go. I'm ready to
Right.
go.
Right.
Yeah, like you can tell when someone's fed up, despite the circumstance. And you have to remember, when the Most High was about to destroy Sodom, Abraham begged for him to spare that city. He even went down to from 50. If you find 50 people, please, can we spare it? And of course, with God, how gracious and how merciful He is, He would say, yes, if I find someone, if I find 50, if I find 45. Then after a while, Abraham's like, if you give me 10, can we do it for 10? Can we do it for 10? And Yahuwah is like, and the Lord is saying, if I find 10, I will spare that city, the whole city. So just like that, we can make the, hey, hi Mike, how are you? Um, we can make the inference that sometimes it would be our physical, our actual presence around the narcissist who is actually protecting them in a way. So, with that being said, let's move on to the narcissist does not go unpunished. When you live a life of manipulation, constant lying, swindling people to get their way. I mean, people have lied about being married, about how where they live,
Mm.
whose money is it? I mean, criminal records, uh, just really things that matter when you're talking to someone.
Yeah.
So if a narcissist sets out to gain fuel and supply, just like when a predator stalks its prey, if you're being this type of person who sets out to manipulate, this is intentional. If you're being this type of person, do you really think that you're going to get away with it?
Mm.
No matter what is on social media, no matter what fairy tale life they're living, every last one of them, including the flying monkeys and the narcissists, as well as the new supply, they are living in their karma.
Mm.
And this also goes for the new supply because most of the time, the new supply knows about you, you don't know about them.
Mhm.
A lot of times they're in cahoots together, just just to trigger you,
Right.
to be
Mhm.
honest, because the narcissist picks someone who is okay with the whole charade.
Wow.
Let's just be real.
Mhm.
Anybody want to chime in?
That's where I want to interject because I remember there were times when, on occasion, I'd be in the car. Oh, I got to go run an errand and stop by this person's place to do this, that, to get us something because, business. But I wasn't invited in. I'm sitting in the car. So
Mm.
apparently that you say that, I'm thinking to myself, wow,
Hmm.
I didn't know what was going on. That person, the narc, was already, how do you say,
Grooming the next
grooming the next
yeah.
person.
And we do say grooming, and that is a term that you see with a lot of I don't want to trigger the word, but I'll say pedo. You
Yeah,
already know. Yeah. Because
right.
YouTube is funny like that. So
Okay.
grooming, and even still, yeah, we always think of it that way, but you can groom other
Mm-hmm.
ways too.
Right.
Mhm.
This is how I know it was that situation because he let me see the
Hmm.
person hug and be affectionate in the doorway.
Oh,
And I'm looking like, wait a minute, is this business, quote unquote business, or is this
oh
me
my
being
Mhm.
stupid
goodness.
sitting in the car waiting for him? And by maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I'm still sitting in the car.
Are you serious?
While he goes inside. And then right now, I mean, I didn't think anything of it. And I'm telling you, this has been like years ago. But that we talk about,
Wow.
my heart starts beating fast because I'm like, oh my gosh, I
Mm,
was in this situation and not realizing that I was a part of the whole scheme of things.
mm. Wow. I mean, the nerve.
The nerve,
Yeah.
and I sat there in the car in the dark, and I would get up. I remember getting upset, like I need to get out of this car and just walk home.
Uh-huh. Wow.
But I, but
Whoa.
but I didn't compel myself to do that.
Hmm. Do you think it was because you didn't want to believe what you
Right.
were seeing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're in a relationship with this person for so many years. Would they blatantly do that to you? Smear
Yeah.
that in your face to make it seem like, that you were the one, but you're sitting in the car. I mean, I bring that up not to say how silly I was or how
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
but to share. It could
That's
be in those most benign moments that you don't think these things are happening to you, and it's in your face. It doesn't
yeah.
have to be a physical abusive thing. It could be subtle little things like that.
Yeah, because you know what? Now that I think about it, if you were to confront him,
Right.
he would say, "Oh, that's just, you know how."
Oh yeah, I never did. I just when he got in the car, it was like cool. Okay, that's nice. That was your work person, work what do you call them? Work wife, whatever they call them back then. you know, but if it's that innocent, why am I sitting in the car?
That's very true. Why not?
But I'm that type of person. I don't like to make waves, and I'm still like that. That's probably why I'm still single. I don't like to make waves. I don't confront. I don't argue. I don't make things an issue. And I'm cool with that. But then now that I'm older and I realize, maybe I need to start being a little more assertive, not aggressive, but more assertive in what I'm saying, what I'm seeing from before my eyes is really what it is.
Yeah, because that gaslighting, and we talked about this before. One second. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Jazz. We talked about this before where the narcissist will make you rethink your own reality. I know what I saw.
Right.
And you're going to sit here and tell me I did not see this?
Exactly. That's why I didn't want to that's why I didn't say anything, because I knew it was going to be a war of the words.
Gotcha.
And I'm not that type of person to play those games. I wasn't. And as I get older, I'm really not that kind of person.
Yeah, there's something else.
It's quite enlightening to hear what's been happening that you thought was okay, when in actuality it's really something that you should have at least said, I'm not the fool that you think I am,
Or at least leave silently, because we know if anybody's listening out there that's in a relationship with a narcissist and you're actually in their, headquarters, so to speak, please make sure, please be careful. The narcissist is really, they're unpredictable. You don't know what they're really capable of. You may think this person will not do this or do that, or they're not that violent. You do not know. A lot of times the narcissist will say, well, you don't even really know me.
Right.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard the narcissist say that.
Yeah.
And they're telling the truth right there. You don't really know them.
No, you don't.
So you have to be careful. You really have to be careful, because they manipulate. And just like Nicole Burke says, they lie so much. I mean, turn on the ID channel. You'll get the... I have content for months on the ID channel. Anybody else would like to chime in? What about Annie or Michael?
I feel like that is one of the things that a narcissist will condition you to do, is to lose your voice and not speak up for yourself and not question them, because then you are fearful of the blow up and the argument and then turning it against you. So you start, at least I know I started internalizing everything and trying to think it out and predict it. Will it go this way? Will it go that way? Before I would say something, because I knew my intentions would be just something inquisitive, just, well, why would you do it that way? But the smallest thing could turn into an argument that lasted for weeks, and then it would just get ugly. It would get so ugly.
You're the one that argues too much.
Right.
Yeah, that's that double bind. We call that a double bind, meaning there's nothing that you can do or say that will be right.
Right.
That's a double bind, or you say a catch-22. Nothing you say will be right with the narcissist. Nothing will please them, especially in that discard and devalue stage. That's a very good point.
Yeah, very
I
true.
mean, that double bind turns into like a hog tie, and then you're trapped. You lose your voice, you lose your sovereignty, you lose your agency. And then I think about what you were saying, Demi. I mean, it's like the narc wants to be the director of the movie, writing the script, and the role that he cast you for was submissive, and basically just to let him do whatever he wants to do.
For sure, they prey on that type, and then make your life miserable, and you just get swallowed up and go down that rabbit hole, because that's a part. They know that's a part of your personality. I mean, I've always been an introvert. I've always been that person not to make waves. But
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's just in me. My father's that way. Hey, don't bother me. I won't bother you.
Yeah.
If you rub me the wrong way, you keep doing it. You keep doing it. Then I'm gonna be like, what the, WTF? I get
Yeah.
to that point, but I don't like being that person, and they know that you don't like being that person.
Well, I think that's why a lot of us are what do you call like a targeted individual? And I just get that from a book I read, and it was actually titled "Targeted Individual."
Ah,
And there were, I mean, this is coming from it. It wasn't coming from a point of view for narcissists per se, but it was this person is a targeted individual for some other things. I would say in the atmosphere, or UFOs, or demons, and things like that. But some people are targeted more than others. Why? Why is that?
Well, it's the sort of like your demeanor. So like they talk about this with muggings and robberies. The
right.
the person who looks like the meekest or is the smallest is the first person that person will prey
That's
on.
so
Bully,
true.
bullying the
They could,
person that bullies.
right. And a bully picks an easy fight because they don't want to like fight against something that will like fight back.
That's right.
Right.
Yep. And I was
Oh,
bullied as a child.
yeah. And how many of you were bullied as a child? Just curious, because I was bullied.
I was bullied.
I
Yeah.
was bullied. Yeah. That's what a connection.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
connection. Oh goodness.
It-
Well,
and-
Valerie. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was just gonna say the narc is a sociopath. They have no feelings. They have no empathy. And I feel like that's part of the reason why karma seems to take so long to catch up to them, or reaping and sowing, is because like everything is self-justified and they never see faults or wrongs. And at that same time, like while you're being their shield because you care about them, they're dumping everything on you. And so like, I think that, you've mentioned like in the discard, like, you're like a piece of trash. Well, you're a whole dumpster
Right.
until like you get thrown away.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they even call it the phase is a discard, because when you're breaking up with a narcissist, this is not a regular breakup.
Oh no.
The narcissist will literally, after that, devalue, meaning they take what they found good in you and they devalue it. After that stage, they discard you, meaning they throw you away like trash.
And they have to make a production of it too.
Oh yeah, they have to.
It has to be a
When they
production.
get their flying monkeys and their smear campaign, because they cannot admit that they made the worst mistake of their life. They can't admit that. Let's see, Michael. There's two mics. Okay, so Michael, you're already here. Does the other mic, if you want, I saw you trying to come up, but you can come up. Just make sure you, if you want to, take your, put your camera off, and I'll just add you up. Nicole Burks, she says, the one I dated last year always said, "I'll make you cry, River." I found myself always crying and sad.
It's true. It's true.
Oh.
They want to see you down. They kick you down. They start pouring salt on the wound. They make it worse.
And you see that's intentional. That person said to her, "I will make you." Who wants to set out to make someone hurt? Yeah. Who wants to see you cry? What type of person is that? And it's intentional. And so Valerie, she says that they act like they never knew you. That is correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. 100%. 100%.
When for me, when my ex-husband came to LA to beg me back to be in a relationship, it was the whole love bombing thing all over again. And I was hesitant, but I was like, okay, well, maybe he did learn because I left him. So maybe he did learn something, and I'm considering it. So he was at a Starbucks in LA, and he says, come up to Starbucks. So I went over there and meet him. And then I saw his demeanor was different. It was that standoff, which I already knew in my insides. Okay, something is getting ready to happen. He's going to do something, because this is how his body language, his mannerism gets before he just, it's like his eyes are dark and he's stiff. And so I know something is coming. So I'm bracing myself. So I'm being affectionate and he's not. When I went to like hug him, he stiffed his arms to the
Oh,
side.
wow.
And I'm like, okay. So I stop. And then he says, look, you want to be back together and you want this marriage to work? And I said, yes. And he says, you're going to have to put my name on your deed because I'm not going to be with a woman that owns a house and or live in it. And I don't own it too.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
Where is the
I
boot?
just
I wish I had
started
a boot sound effect. Like give him the boot.
crying. I just started crying and I walked away because that's not something I was getting ready to do.
Definitely not.
And I walked away and I sat in my truck and this man is standing there laughing, just laughing.
mm,
And I'm crying. So I picked up the phone and I tried to call somebody that would really hype me up, honestly.
Mhm.
Because I called her and I said, I'm gonna hit him with my truck. I'm just gonna tap him. I'm not gonna, you know, do it where I would kill him, but I'm just gonna tap him. But seriously, I had snapped, like,
yeah.
because
I
it
believe.
might not sound like it, it's so bad what he said, but in my mental state, the way that he had me and everything, I was like,
The
I'm gonna just,
intimidation.
yeah, I'm just gonna tap him with this truck. And mind you, he's a big man. He's 6'7". So she said, don't do it. Do not. Anything can happen. You could hit somebody else. You could really hurt him. Then he'll wind up with the house anyway. They were
Mm,
like, don't do it. And this is a person that I thought would say, do
yeah.
it, do it.
That was a voice of reason.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I'm so glad that she intervened because, like, that's exactly the intention, is to provoke to the
That's
point
right.
where you lose your mind and look like you're the bad one.
Yes.
End up somewhere you don't want to be. They'll love that. Oh,
We
Hmm.
talked about that 72-hour hold last time we were here.
ooh.
But
They
then when
love.
you try to tell people what this person put you through, at least to me, I feel like I
Mhm.
sound weak or I sound crazy
Right,
Mm,
right,
mm.
right.
because
Well, you're
unless somebody has gone through it, they don't get it. They were like, "Well, why did you stay? Well, why did you do?"
Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand.
They don't.
It's like a sticky rat trap. You
Yeah,
just stuck.
yeah. That's why I kept it to myself for years and years. Like I didn't realize how bad it was. Like the things that the person would say to you. Like, and I'm an educated woman,
Mm.
Hmm.
educated. Working with people, counseling others, folks,
Oh,
background, behavioral studies, and everything. And this
wow.
person
Hmm.
was in my presence like this, and I didn't know how to react to that. I kept it to
Mhm,
myself, thinking I was okay by getting rid of them, or leaving, because of course you can't get rid of them.
mhm, mhm.
You just leave and
Right.
move on,
You
change your
have to
phone
do
number.
a full blackout. Like if you don't have children with a narcissist, you have to
Oh,
literally.
I'm so happy I don't have any children
Yeah.
or property or anything. And
Hmm.
to add, Annie, he tried to make it where I put his name on my title of the home that I was
Wow.
for in my family. I had a family home, and he
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, you need to sell this home, and we could get a home together." What?
Right.
Hmm.
Hmm.
No, no, sir. No, sir.
That is so. The way that, but both of those stories are absolutely, I mean, mind blowing
Yeah,
because people have the nerve and the audacity to. I did a video on how the narcissist feels like they're entitled to what you have,
right.
even if
Hmm.
you obtain these things before you met them.
Oh, yes.
So
I was
it's the entitlement for me, and
thank
also even in my book, I have an example of how it doesn't matter what they want. They could go after like small change or deeds to a house.
Oh, yeah.
I literally say that in my book. For those of you who read the book, it may sound familiar, but that's why I'm just like shocked right now that you two even had that experience, because when I was sitting writing, I'm just, I never had that experience as someone wanting
Oh,
their
yes. They
house.
want your identity. I mean, I got a part-time job over the summer. And I don't want to, divulge the type of job, but it was something
Yes, yes,
you're in
please.
front of an audience and you're on a higher level, higher ed education.
Okay.
Person, oh, no, congratulations. I should have got that job. That was meant for me. How did you get that? So when we go back to how they prosper, they're so busy trying to piggyback off of you and what you're about that they will cut and paste to get their doctorates. They will meet up in the group settings and feed off people to kind of get to where they need to be. This is my experience with the narc. This is one. This is the one I really, really noticed because I don't jump around. I date for life. I date to be married. This is like one out of maybe 3 narcs that I now can recognize as a narc.
And with you saying that, the enemy knows that.
Right.
So that is why the people that you would potentially meet or see yourself having a future with, he would interrupt that with what? A narcissist.
Oh, yes.
He knows that you don't date around.
No.
You see?
That's not my goal. I'm okay with being by myself. That's why it takes me so long to meet people. And I'm okay with that. But when I meet you, I'm a Virgo at heart. If everybody knows that. We love hard. When we know we're in a relationship with you, we give our all. And I'm not a person of that type of nature, but to bring light to my whole demeanor, that's what it's about. I don't just date you just to be kicking and booting all that. That's like.
As we talked before, I know that certain generations. I know for my generation, the dating pool has P and right, there is no pool. Okay.
So the dating pool has hepatitis A, B, and
C. Hepatitis.
It's a cesspool, honey.
Listen, whatever we got in our pool in my generation.
I told my girlfriend a long time ago when we were out there with our husbands, because I was married with my daughter's father, and we were like, when he was going through all the situation, this is back in the 80s, I said, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with our daughters later on in life with these men? Because they're not channeling their energy with the children. They're so busy out there listening to this garbage of a music that came about in the 80s, and the drug scene came about. We sat and talked about it. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen with our girls when it's all said and done, when they're grown? The men they're not up to caliber like the OGs were back in the day. You have some, I'm sorry, but I'm dating myself, where the fathers were there to be home. They were home with their work at least.
Definitely a different day.
Right. A whole nother time now. They don't even want to be married, let alone be your girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. This is not I've been told I have an old soul. I'll take that. But this is not the generation that I feel like I should have been born into.
No. That's because you wrote a book about this.
Right. Yeah.
But obviously, for obvious reasons, no, you're not. You see the light.
Yeah, I definitely see the light. Oh, praise the Most High. Thank goodness that I see the light, because you don't want to be caught up in, you tell people it's okay to be different. You don't have to do everything that everybody's doing. It's fine.
No.
We have, wait. Let me, before I bring the other mic on, Valerie said that she has experienced the black pupil in the middle of a bad argument. You know what? I've done videos on demonic manifestations with narcissists when they get enraged.
Oh yeah, that should be a whole other show.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah, you're right.
That should be another show.
Experience.
Story about that.
Yeah, I write it in my book too. The hissing like a snake, the barking like a dog, the spitting. Remember how snakes spit? You have to think about, what do we have in the Bible where we're talking about a snake? We're thinking about Python, Leviathan, the serpent.
Wow.
What are they doing with the hissing? Why are they hissing and spitting at you, spitting
Yeah.
on you
Because
when
they're demons. They're demons.
what they're being that is manifesting in them? It's
Yeah.
manifesting. So also you have what was it? Someone else put a long time ago. Someone had about the stare. It was a man that I was talking to. He said he was involved with a narcissist, and she would stare. The stare was so cold that it. He said he ran out of the house because he was terrified. And a lot of people came for me because I mentioned Medusa. And if you ever read a book called oh my gosh, something about God, When There Were Gods, The Clash of the Gods, something like that. But I'm going to find the name. I'll look for it when I let the next person speak. The person is breaking down how these Egyptian, Greek, Roman gods are actually demons that came to be worshipped by the Romans, by the Greeks, by the this is that. So when I mentioned Medusa, that went over a lot of people's heads.
That's when you mentioned in your book. Is that where that part?
That part, well, no, I don't put Medusa in there, but I have a video on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I do mention other spirits that manifest. I do mention that in the book. And I do mention about how the familiar spirits actually set up relationships just so you don't meet your life partner. I do talk about that. Now, Mike, the other Mike, Mike number 2, do you have anything to say? How are you?
I'm all right. I'm more or less just listening because I'm in a my situation's just it's just different. Trying to I don't know. I think I'm married to a narcissist. My mother-in-law tells me she's a narcissist. Her whole family tells me she's a narcissist.
Oh wow.
And so it's just been difficult and it's complicated.
Has anyone experienced that when the actual family comes to you and says, "Hey," or like gives a warning or anything like that? Anybody experienced that type of thing?
No, they just look back and laugh or say little things to each other, or they hate you.
See, I don't think they hate me. It's just I don't know. So in August it'll be technically 5 years because there hasn't been any paperwork filed, but she hasn't been living at home for 3 months now. I knew her for 7 years, and I don't have any kids with her, but I have a stepson, but I call him my son Josiah, whose dad isn't involved in his life. So I kind of stepped up and.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful.
So, long story short, paperwork and stuff wasn't filed because legally I don't hold any parental rights if we're divorced, and it's just long. So she had an affair with another woman, and it's just kind of crazy. But I get along with her family real well, and they're like, well, this is just her, and I'm like, well, okay, a heads up would have been good because it's been 6.5, 7 years, but
yeah, for sure.
And I keep going back and forth on I just got your book literally 3 days ago, and I keep reading it.
Support.
And I'm going through it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is this person. This is crazy. So I'm in right now. I've shared it with my mother-in-law a little bit and talking with her. Right now I'm in that Hoover stage. Like she's trying to suck me back in. Like, can I come back home? I'm like, no. She's, can I live in a room in the basement and pay you rent? And I'm like, no, this doesn't work. And I'm trying to, help Josiah get, figure out how to deal with his emotions with this because he'll be 16 in August. And I'm like,
a sensitive age too.
And then the oldest stepson, he says he's just moved on. He graduated high school a couple of weeks ago, and he goes off to college in 20 days.
Well, that's good.
So, and then I was married previously to that, and I know for sure that she was a narcissist. And again, I don't want to just spew it all out there, but I'm just trying to listen and read and educate myself.
For sure. because
So is
this,
there like no difference in the female narcissist and the male narcissist that they do the same thing?
oh, they definitely do the same thing. It's the same cycle.
Okay.
It's the same cycle of abuse. It is, I would say, I get so many messages also from men, and they are battling with this too. So it is not just, the women or anything like that, but it also comes from the men, especially these days. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like more and more women are becoming narcissists.
Wow.
I think I would see why, because I feel like more women are taking on masculine traits
That's
or
so true. That's a good point. That's
Mhm.
so true.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
mean they talk about that in psychology, like if like one partner is more masculine than the other, then like there's a shift that happens in the relationship.
Mhm.
Like because like that it doesn't balance out well.
Hmm.
But
Yes, that's.
Mike, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was disagreeing with you. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just saying, Mike, welcome to the panel. Like, it's good to have like another male voice on the panel.
Sure.
Little less pressure. Um, but like your situation, especially with your stepson Josiah. I mean, I think that the positive in the situation is that he is 16, and that he's old enough where he can see
Yeah.
what's going on, and he's just a few short years away from being out of the situation. And if you've established a good bond, strong bond with him, he's going to look towards you
Mm,
for advice.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Keep that bond. Keep that no matter what, because we already know the fate of the narcissist. It's never a good one, but at least you got that child, and at least you stepped up to be a father to him. So that is, I applaud you for that. That's what
Well,
that's
thank you.
wonderful. Yeah, definitely wonderful. Now, also, Nicole says, why isn't why is it hard to get over the narcissist? I found myself thinking about him for some strange reason recently. Honestly, the rumination, because when you're thinking about things over and over and over again, it's okay if you get a flash here and there when you're healing. Let me put somebody on mute. Let's see. Is somebody at the gas station? um,
no, that was my oven timer.
oh, okay. When we're thinking about rumination, we're thinking about the repetitive thoughts, the thoughts that consume. I mean, literally, you cannot get the narcissist out of your mind, even
Mm,
if you tried.
wow.
So when you're recovering from this type of abuse, that stage, when we're talking about rumination, which is the repetitive, nonstop thinking about the narcissist, be aware of what you're thinking about. You're most likely fantasizing
Mm,
about what could have been, what should have been if this person was a normal functioning person,
mm,
what would have been if things worked out. Still living in that love bomb. And that's
wow.
what I tell a lot of people when it comes to rumination. That's how you know you're almost about to be healed, because that rumination will grip you and it
Mm,
does not want to let go, because that narcissist, if they cannot get to you physically, they will live in your head for
wow. I don't
however
know.
long that process takes to really get the narcissist out.
Mm,
Once.
yeah, don't
Mhm.
don't let them rent room in your brain for
Exactly.
sure.
Exactly. They will
What
take
I'm
over. One tip that I can say, or an exercise, is for the rumination. Actually, read something, a magazine, a book. Stay away from fantasy type
your
books.
book. Read your book. Get your book.
Read my book. Yes, read my book. There's tons of books out there, and especially mine because I wrote it. But there's things
Right?
out there that when you're actually
I like
sitting
that.
and reading,
Yeah.
not necessarily yeah, listening to something is also good too. But
Yeah.
that same part of your brain
Mm-hmm.
that ruminates, it cannot ruminate
Mm,
while you're reading. It physically cannot.
right.
So that's one way that I tell people how to get over this hump of the rumination. The rumination is really to me, it's kind of like you're almost over it. You're out the door, but that grip on the mind that's trying to suck you back in. But you have the power, you can get through this rumination. Make sure you're focusing on something else. Pick up some type of hobby, read, write, do something, anything. Educate yourself, because the more education that you have on this subject, the more you can see that, wait a minute, this is a real disorder. This is not just, oh, he left or she left. And this is, no, this is real and it's serious, because it is taking me away from the path that I need to be on.
Right. Whatever you do, don't go fishing for their Facebook or looking them up or trying to find out what they're doing, because they're lying about it.
Yeah, they're doing that to trigger you. And so
exactly.
That's right. And let's see. So I hope that answers your question. Nicole and Valerie said the same thing. And Conservative Hippie says she got her books today. Yay! Woohoo! Okay, so moving right along, when we're talking about why do the wicked prosper. So far we have two of those instances where we have number one, we have, it may be the fact that you're in the way. And then number two, it may be because they're just putting on a show. And number three, this is the one that I really wanted to touch on. Number three is called the iniquity is not yet full. The iniquity is not yet full. Well, what do I mean by that? We're going to have to take it to Genesis 15 to 16, where we have, let's see, I'm looking through my notes, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have, it reads, they shall come back here in a fourth generation, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. So when we have verse 14, you know that the Most High will bring judgment on the nation that enslaved Israel. But the iniquity, he says, is not yet complete. Iniquity is sin or wrongdoing that people keep doing. So you have sin, you sin once or twice, but when you're repeatedly doing it, it becomes iniquity. So the iniquity or the bad things that this group is doing is not yet full. So sometimes the Most High waits for the things that the narcissist is doing or the toxic person is doing to be at its maximum, where it is full. And then he can enact, just like how he did with Israel, then he can enact his due punishment on the. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely, because like when you're full of that, then you're going to fall harder.
That's right. That's right. The iniquity was not yet full, and you can find that in Genesis 14, 15, 16. Just read about them Amorites. The iniquity is not yet full. The Most High had to bring judgment, but he was waiting. That's like anybody have a law background or anything like that? You're waiting for the evidence to pile up. You don't want to just go in there and make an arrest for just something minor. No, I want the full, right? I want the full things, the evidence and everything. So I know without a doubt, when we go to this court or this court of heaven, I know that I can do justly what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so you can find that in Genesis. And there's also one more thing that I wanted to read in Psalms 37. Fret not thyself because of evildoers.
That's right.
Be envious against the workers of iniquity. Remember, iniquity is what? Sin, repeated sin. It's not just messing up here and there.
Yes.
Iniquity is something that you are doing repeatedly.
Yes.
Okay. For they shall soon be cut down like grass.
That's right.
And wither. That's right. And wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so thou shalt dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of your heart. So, just like Jaslyn said, the case has to be stacked so it's undeniable. That's right. 100% right.
And that's what the scriptures are.
Right.
To give justice to the undeniable.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what the scriptures say.
Yeah. So, and especially if we have to think Satan is what? An accuser. He goes before the courts accusing us day and night, day and night, day and night. So just like he has his, side of the fence, we also have our side of the fence. So the Most High has to wait for the iniquity to be full on their side too. It's not just us that are in this game, not game, but in life. We have bad and good.
Yeah, in this journey. Okay. That's right.
In this journey, right. It's both sides. Okay. Anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, the Psalms are very powerful. You remember, like, most of the Psalms are written by David, and he was writing them when he was in the worst possible place to find God and to seek protection. So Psalm 37 is very powerful. Psalm 35, the first Psalm, Psalm 10, they're all just very powerful. And to speak of distraction, like reading those Psalms is very powerful. It brings protection.
Agreed. That is 100%. I agree.
Brief. I like stories because they help bring things into perspective for me. And so one of the early Christians, because there was a gap there before Christianity really took hold, and so his name was Anthony Padua. And of course, Catholics kind of like canonize these people as saints, but he was just a good Christian. And Anthony Padua went out into the desert, and he kind of was a hermit. And so a lot of people went to him for advice and how to find God and to find Jesus. And his story was, while he was out there in the darkness, he was attacked by all manner of demons. And, he finally just cried out, and he was like, God, when is this going to be too much? And then so an angel just showed up and just cleared the space. And he's like, not for nothing, but like, what took you so long? And the angel said, listen, we wanted to see what you were made of.
Ain't that something?
Wow. You know what that reminds me of? Remember with what was it, Daniel or David, when he was praying, he went on the fast for 21 days. And then after the 21 days, he met with the angel came to him, and he said, Daniel, I was with you from day one, but I got up in the heavens.
That's right.
Because there was a war in heaven, the Prince of Persia, I couldn't get down. Yes. You just reminded me of that.
Yeah, I love the book of Daniel. It's like very powerful stuff. But a lot of this talk has been about like the wicked, but like, we who, are, experiencing life. So, are we completely pure? No. But like, as those of us who are righteous, like, there's also something that we can take away from these experiences and grow from, no matter how hard it feels.
That's definitely true. And I also want to interject with there's something that I read I listen to it because I like to listen to my audio books or Bible audio. And every night, and it may sound weird because why am I listening to this every night?
No, it's not.
Every night, every night I listen to Habakkuk. And it is a book in the Bible. And Habakkuk was a man, he wrestled with God. And when I first heard this, I'm like, how dare he wrestle with God? Like, who is he to question? How long will something take? And the more I listen to it, I understand where he's coming from. So I just want to share that with you. If everybody just listen along, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to know what you think after I read this. So in Habakkuk 1, he states, how long, Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? or cry to you violence, but you don't save? Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? Destruction and violence are before me. There is strife and conflict abounds. Therefore, the law is paralyzed, and justice never prevails. The wicked hem in righteous, so that the justice is perverted. So, right here, right there, we have the prophet Habakkuk questioning, Lord, how? Why don't you see what's going down here on earth? Why are you not doing anything about it? And I found it so profound that Habakkuk, the prophet, is asking, why are you letting the wicked go on like this?
Right.
I'm crying out to you violence, but you're not saving. In verse 5 is the Lord's answer. He says, look at the nations and watch. Be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told. I am raising up the Babylonians, a ruthless. The Babylonians were a people that were known for chaos.
Yeah.
They're like how today we have like gangbangers or stuff like that.
Right.
That would be the Babylonians. So what the Lord is saying to Habakkuk is, I'm raising these people up
Wow.
to deal with the wicked people.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Mhm.
Wow.
I mean, when I really sat in, I'm like, my mind was blown when I really spoke that in. He will raise up somebody like the Babylonians to enact, you might as well say, justice on the wicked. What do y'all think about that?
Well, I think that, good on him to like actually have the dialogue, the conversation, because I think that like most of us feel like we go to prayer when we're like in need or when we're meek. But I mean, like, it's so important to go to God when you're angry as well. That's when you're really going to find an answer and find yourself. And it makes me think of, I have this book, it's The Art of the Samurai, and one of the statements in it is, when the water is clear, there are no fish. And so like, it's sort of like something we don't understand, but that whole ecosystem that's the ocean, there's a whole part of it that exists so that there's some kind of balance. And it's the brightest light is always surrounded by the darkest shadow. And so like, without the other, it's hard for us to even have any idea of what good is or what evil is. And I think it's hard to compartmentalize that, especially like now when you look around and you see so much evil and so much injustice. But there's a balancing taking place, and there's something else rising up to bring order to the chaos.
I truly feel that. I really do feel that something is going on where people are waking up.
And that's a part of it, I think, too. When we have to see the ugly for someone like us that when we go back to being bullied and timid or what have you, to sort of find our voice. Because I mean, sometimes how do we find our voice? How do we know that we need to find our voice when someone steps over us? So many times you're like, wait, whoa, you stepped over me. Wait a minute, you stepped over me again.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wake up. It helps us to wake up out of our little timidness.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of it. For lack of better words, to help us realize that we do have a voice.
I think that's why I like this Habakkuk. I mean, I just admire the whole book because, I mean, I can't believe how bold he is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's telling God like, what's going on here?
Right.
when? What's going on?
Right.
And
that's how we are with the narcissist. Wait a minute. Enough is enough. When you talked about earlier, when do we know to move on? That's when we learn, wait a minute, and how do you know? Enough is enough.
Yeah, you have to get to the point where you are fed up.
Yeah, you get to the end. Someone told me you get to the end of yourself and realizing it's time to move on or wake up. You get to the end of that.
That's real deep, Demi.
I mean, it is what it is. You to get to the end of being yourself to realize this person has done too much.
Right. Yeah. Too much. Yes.
Like, come on, really?
Right. Yeah. Enough is
You're
enough.
moving on to somebody else, and you trying to prosper with my. I mean, it was crazy. We talked about that before. How the words I used to say, I found myself arguing about my words. Those are my words. That's my phrase.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking what I said.
They're on their own. I mean, they take anything. I mean, they would take spare change and your words and your deeds in the house.
You start realizing this guy is trying to, a woman bleeding you inside out. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
And then they go on to this other person, and you go back and look like, wait a minute, you were saying things to me that you wouldn't do with a person that now you're doing it with.
Yeah.
Here you are, quote unquote, sort of prospering on spare change.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that verse in the Bible too, awake, O sleeper, right? Because like, when you talk about getting to the edge of yourself, it's like, well, you were so immersed in that other person and enmeshed that there wasn't but any of you left.
Exactly.
And so when you get to that edge, like it's the tipping point that brings you back to you.
Exactly.
And then the separation and the gap begins.
There you go. Michael, love you, buddy. What?
Wow.
That's so true.
Yep. Wow.
It's heartbreaking to understand that we're so vulnerable with love. We forget that love is not supposed to be so hard.
Definitely not.
And there's multiple forms of love too, right? I mean, like the Greek referred to agape, storge, eros, and philia. And it's like, I feel like the thing that as a society and why we're like heading in the way of Sodom and Gomorrah is that it's all eros.
Yes,
it's just strictly that. There's no agape. There's no reverence
not
at all.
It's not out of the goodness of your heart at all. Not at all.
You know, the narcissist sets out, they only love you so much as they can use you. The narcissist wants whatever you got. And as soon as you say no, that's where the love ends.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have an unconditional love for you. I mean, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind, and all of these great, wonderful things. Well, where was this with the narcissist? Non-existent.
But if you say that to a narcissist, those words too shall be held against you. Because if you say love is patient, love is kind, that's what you need to be patient and you need to be kind.
Oh, yeah. Turn it around.
Wow.
They're going to turn it right around. Well, I need you right now. I need you. So what about me? I need your change. I need the deed to your house. I need your car keys. I need everything you have. And I need you to be patient with me.
Bye-bye.
I didn't prosper it off of your words.
And then they will tell you, and watch, I will multiply it.
Oh, yeah.
They will, but you will not profit from the multiplication.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. Yeah, that's wild, man. But when you think about a narcissist, these people, love is unconditional. You love a child or a dog and things like that. But when it comes to a narcissist, they love on conditions.
On condition.
This is not unconditional. For example, if you do this for me, then I will do this. Maybe.
Yeah, and they won't even say it. It's like a given. It's a given thing.
Yeah,
it's not even a saying. It's like, okay, take it for example, and I bring this to point around gift giving time. You have to be the one to give over the budget of what they're looking for than what they would give for you as far as a gift or something. If you give something minimal, they'll say to your face, this is not what I asked for.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yes.
That's just so wrong. Like, I mean, like it takes so much thought to give something to someone, like I just, but the thing is like with all these quid pro quos, you know what I mean? Like, I'll do this, for you if you do that. And then like, them sort of like putting your nose in what their nose should be in. You realize you're dealing with a fool, and you can't argue with a fool because you get yourself into a position where you become foolish, you know?
Right. But not saying a word, you just back out slowly and you find a way out, stage left with all your things because it's abusive.
In silence, because the narcissist can be very unpredictable, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. And please don't go and say you're a narcissist. That's not going to do you any good. Starting arguments, or just keep it to yourself. This person cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be the one where you can sit down and have a heart-to-heart, a conversation as adults. No. This is not the type of person you're dealing with.
If you call a narcissist out and you call them one and you stay, you're going to get full-blown narcissist now.
Yeah.
Full-blown. Because it's like, oh, okay, you know who I am and you're still here, then take this.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse.
I really am. That's the mask comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you teach people how to treat you. So like if you keep getting run over and over again, they're just gonna, put the foot on the gas and like really plow you down next time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That is 100% the truth. You have to move in silence. I cannot stress that enough. So many people are victims of narcissistic abuse, where either the narcissist snaps on you or you get to a breaking point you didn't even know you had.
That's right.
And then it'd be you that's sitting in a jail cell. You that are in a facility. You don't want to get to that point. So you move in silence. You know what you're working with.
I always say that. I say that to if this person causes you that much anger or resentment and forget who you are as an individual, you need to step out slowly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Definitely.
So
and I see
hi.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the men with the women, are they more aggressive in their nature? What is their mannerism like?
Well, there's definitely, like, for me, there's like a shifting that takes place, like where there's kind of like a sultry, playful at first in the love bombing. And then it slowly starts to become dismissive, cold, distanced, like a trap. So you kind of, it's almost like a mouse trap. It's like, okay, you want the cheese, you got to get smashed first. And then it really just becomes like, at that last phase, it just really becomes like demeaning. It's very aggressive. Just the type of thing that makes you feel small. I mean, just a brief window into my world. I'll be quick with it because I know we're sort of edging on through the journey, like getting close to the end. But I am a doer, and so after I finally landed a house for my family, I was working really hard at my job for the pandemic, and there was no grace or understanding when I was coming home late, putting in extra hours. And it got to the point where I was being diminished so much that, like, when it came to do a simple task, like put up a gate on the porch for my kids so they wouldn't wander off, I was so mentally exhausted from everything, but also the verbal abuse, that I couldn't even figure out how to put up this gate. And I had a friend come over to help me, and it turned out that, I thought it needed like extra board so that it would fill the gap, and it didn't. It was I could simply have measured it. It was smaller than the other side, and I was so embarrassed with my friend, and in that moment I just felt so small, and I felt like I'd lost my entire intellect and intelligence.
Yeah, that is so sad, because I'm thinking about men and NPD. A lot of men don't share, but it is belittling, and you have these women coming against, things that they know will trigger a man, and they will do it intentionally. Is that any of the other men here? We have Mike, and hi, what is this? Poppy 444. I see you in the chat, and he says, yeah, they are aggressive. They get real evil. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry. In my situation, it's been hard because I almost feel like I was going crazy. So, I knew getting when I got married, there was I have to remember that she has like PTSD, depression. So I second guess myself. So there would be times where I would work, she didn't work, and I would do extra work just to pay for things and try to help do more stuff around the house, but just completely exhausted. And then it was, oh, well, you didn't switch the laundry. And I'm like, I just worked, 50 hours in a week on top of, and I went and did a couple side jobs. And then it's, well, can you bring me something for dinner, fill my water bottle? And just, yeah, it just created, and then it just got super distant. And I thought, well, maybe she's just depressed. And so I tried to support her while she played football. And then while she was playing football, it went another direction. And now it's can I come back home? But there hasn't been any, I'm sorry, or anything. So it's just.
Of course not. No. Well, you have to think, when the narcissist goes out with their play date, or, whoever the new supplier interest is, when things don't work out, and they realize, hey, this person isn't as good as I thought they were. They are human too. They have these flaws. They have this or that. And I'm better off back at home. Right. They don't care to apologize. They don't care about the damage that they've done to their family. So, yeah, this is sadly and unfortunately that this is what you see when you're dealing with narcissists of, male or female. They both have the same traits.
Like it's very like that 1950s classic dynamic where like one person in the relationship does everything. Like in the 50s, it was sort of like the housewife, the woman was doing everything and the man would expect. And I would say that there's a dynamic of this, just like Mike was describing, where the female narcissist kind of expects the same kind of treatment, no matter how hard you're working or how much you're supporting the house.
Yeah. And it's on Diane, she says that, thank you all for letting me know I am not alone. No, you are definitely not alone. We have a whole community.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is, and it's growing, okay? So you're definitely not alone, and we support each other. And I am glad that everyone has tuned in. So just, oh wait, the link is actually here. Does anybody see? This is why I need like a moderator. Oh, here it is. Here's the link. Let me see if I can actually copy and paste it. I just put it up on the banner. If you can, does anybody see that down there? Or maybe I'm the only that sees.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, next time I'll just put it more in the chat. If you want, you can just copy and paste it. I'm not sure if it'll work now.
Yeah, you had it to copy the link when I first started. That's what made me get on, because I was able to click it when you're in the comments. But I don't know why I wasn't able to get on earlier. It was weird, because normally I see it before you start.
That is so strange.
Right. It wasn't there. That's why I wasn't. I don't know how Mike and Annie got in, but I see it earlier.
I'm going to have to look into that, because that's not good. Okay. So now, for just as a recap, we're thinking about how the wicked prosper, and I promise you I'm not going to hold you too much longer, and I'm thankful for everyone who has chimed in. Number one, we have that they're putting on a show. Number two, we have that sometimes it may be you that is holding up the progress of the narcissist punishment. Then number three, we have the iniquity is not yet full, meaning they are not at that maximum peak for the Most High to enact the punishment. There needs to be more iniquity, more things that they're doing, because everybody will be in those courts of heaven. There needs to be more. So, and also, the Most High does not want any of us to perish. It could be also that he's waiting for them to turn around and repent. And you never know. All right. So I just want to, for our last final words, just one more thing about Habakkuk. In in chapter 2, the Lord says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. So the things that we have now, this is for an appointed time. This is not on our time. We are moving on borrowed time, really. So it's not for us to say, okay, it's got to happen this way. It's got to happen that way. You just keep living right. You do what you need.
Right.
You have to be fed up enough to say, you know what? I wash my hands. I don't care. Blocked. And you know what I say? Block the mama too.
Right. Right. Like family too.
Block the mama knows. Block her too. No hard feelings, mama.
That's right.
It's just for my own peace of mind. So it's not always our timing. You keep doing right. You do what you need to do. Any last words before we pray our way out of here?
Oh, I was just gonna totally say I believe in just blocking the whole family because they're all in on it.
Yes, they are. They definitely are. The family knows that the person's a narcissist.
Oh, yes. It's not the first time they brought someone in the home and they're dealing with those situations, hoping somebody would just take them and be gone with them.
Yeah.
I think that's what my in-laws and my whole family was trying to do.
Push them off on you?
Yeah, but so, okay, real quick. I know we're trying to, so my father-in-law is currently living with me because he's from Sri Lanka. So that makes it a little more interesting, I guess, to throw a little more in there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They speak English.
I mean, the baby really puts you in the room, boy.
And so you feel like the family was trying to pawn off the narcissist on you?
Oh, sure.
I'm starting to feel like that now a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard. I'm still, like I said, I'm still in that whole processing and trying to understand.
Yes, I can tell. But you'll get to a point where you're like, let's see. We'll talk to you. Well, you know what? I always pray for, marriages to be restored. Restore what the enemy has put his foot in between. Restore it. So I hope things work out. But just knowing how narcissists are, do they ever change? Does anybody have an opinion on, do the narcissists change? I think they do.
I want to have hope and say that they do, because God can move mountains.
But that's what we talked about last time. We give the benefit of the doubt and we end up getting the short end of the stick.
That's true.
About that.
That's so true.
We talked about
I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
Before. We end up being beat up again. That's the timid, and they know they bully us in that whole aspect of life. They pick the ones that are going to give you the benefit. We have to look out for ourselves.
So true.
You know it ain't right. Hey, you gotta
set those boundaries. It's about boundaries too.
Boundaries, dude, you gotta say something. I mean, I wish so. When it comes around again, I know I'm gonna be more into my voice. I know I'm gonna say what I need to say, and not let people just run all over me. Hey, like, wait a minute, or not even. I don't even let people come to my home. I'm so guarded right now. I don't have visitors come over because I don't even want you to. That's how guarded I am, because people are so want to be into your business just to check over your life. Like, no, you're not doing that anymore. And there's a part where you have to say, wait a minute, what are you about? Are you about what I want in life? Or
that's why you have to test. You have to actually test people. So first, before someone comes over to your house, I'm not going to let anybody that's, that I know are
my spiritual place like that. This is my spiritual place now. Not for you to go back and, oh, wow, she's living nice. I'm just going to sit around here. No, you're not. And that's where I kind of put that guard up. If I can't go to your place, you can't come to my place. If I can't have your family over, you can't have my family over. there are some things that you have to say, wait a minute, why are you guarded so much more than I am? Why does your parent have to come over and stay with me from a whole other country? We're his people. We're your people to help this person in your family. There's an aspect of that we have to start asking that question, because they're going to, quote unquote, bully you into your space.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we don't know if Mike. I mean
I'm not to be insulted. I'm trying to insult Mike, but I mean, it is what it is.
No insult taken. You're good. You're good.
Oh, Mike, okay, Mike, we get some tough love over here, Mike. Okay,
no, that's okay.
My bad, Mike. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we give tough. It's a lot of love, Mike.
And that's the word. It's complicated, but it's complicated for who?
I don't know. Maybe I get told Mr. Nice Guy too much. So
exactly. Who is it complicated for? It shouldn't be your complication, is what I'm saying.
So who's all married here? Mike.
I am. Yeah.
And what about Jimmy? You said you're divorced.
We're separated, but the paperwork just hasn't been turned in yet. It's sitting on my table. It's been sitting on the table.
He said it's complicated because he didn't send the papers in yet.
What is the dynamic with the family? Like, I'm curious. What is that like with a mother-in-law? Because when I imagine marriage, I want to hang out with mom-in-law. I want to go shopping with mom-in-law and sister-in-law. I would hope to marry in a family like that.
So I actually hang out with them on the regular. My sister-in-law actually asked if I wanted to watch my nephews this weekend, and I was like, yeah, I would love to. Like, I still want to be Uncle Mike. And they give me, I give them grief a little bit. So my sister-in-law is married to another woman, and they're like, you're the only one in the family. You're the only man in the family that they hang out with. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's because you're gay.
Right. So your wife was with wait. Okay. I'm just trying to understand, but okay, I get it. I think I get it.
Well, yeah. So it's
complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I make it complicated because
it's them. Yeah.
Right, it's them, because they're trying to make you feel like it's complicated because they're trying to push off a lot of things, and they know you're the sweet guy, the nice guy. They know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got a blurb of it. I've lived that. I understand what you're going through, because I would hear little things from his mom. Oh, see, they have a nice family. There's nice things going on. They all came to the party. Like, you would hear little things, little blurts that we didn't think was nothing about it, but they're trying to pawn off this person because they know this person has issues.
Yeah, but at least now, right? So right now, I feel like my father-in-law respects. I said she's not allowed to come back in the house. I know she's going to try to come back because you're staying here, and he's respected that. Like, she stopped by, and it's you can't come in. It's you can stand outside and talk.
Yeah.
So there is that so far.
That's good.
As long as you stand up for yourself, he respects you as being a man.
Yeah, because I also told him if he'd let her in, I said your bags are packed and you're right behind her.
There you go.
Good.
Right.
That's
I am nice, but I was still firm on this is where it has to be.
You have a voice.
I do. I am finding a voice.
Own that voice. Stay with it. I believe that it's going to be where she's going to have no choice but to adhere to that, and whether, hopefully, she met you. I don't know. There's another subject with all this going on.
Mm-hmm. Where she's at, she's got to like help herself. You were describing, like, if she's not in that position that she sees that she has something that she needs to like work on, it's never going to work. And even if you like try to bridge that gap to bring her back in, you will be struck by venom again twice as hard.
Oh, yes. Wow. Does the narcissist change?
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches and put foot down, set those boundaries. And a lot of people here, I know I had to get to a point where I was fed up enough.
Yeah.
because this is a cycle. Once you realize this is a cycle, there's 4 stages of the cycle.
Yes.
And if you don't leave, you will be on this roller coaster
Yeah,
for
for life.
10,
For life.
15, 20, for life.
For life.
You have to put your foot down. I talk to people all the time. I told you last week about the 1979. Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
Right.
I'm so happy. Mine was what?
I was
4.
born.
He says 4, I say 3. So I'm so happy.
Listen, I said, look, before I was born, people have been dealing with narcissistic abuse from a person.
Yeah.
They will run you on this hamster wheel until you decide you're not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
You see that this is not going to change. It is a pattern, and they do this with everyone.
Wow.
This is why when they go to the new supply, they come back running back home because they worn out their welcome over there from the same pattern that they did with you.
Trying to latch on to power, to latching on to being prosperous, latching on to trying to get over on folks. They never.
It's a cycle. It's definitely a cycle. Annie or anybody else want to close out before we leave out?
No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
We definitely covered some ground tonight, that's for sure.
Definitely, right? And I was so happy. I mean, you guys just don't understand that Jesse said dominant. Yeah. There definitely comes a time where you're like, I'm not going to take anymore. You have to get fed up enough. And last week I told you how the Most High dealt with me about having pity on a narcissist who I should have let go.
Wow.
Don't pity him. Don't pity them. They let that relationship between the Most High and them let them be. Right. You go on and do what you need to do. And I just want to say thank you so very much to every single one of you that are in. Thank you so much. I'm glad that we have this space to talk because we always hear about narcissism, but we don't really connect it to the spiritual realm. And I truly believe that narcissism is spiritual warfare.
Yes.
A lot of times when we're thinking about the narcissist, and someone on my TikTok, I said, well, think about what you were doing before you met the narcissist. Someone said they were outside feeding the homeless. They had a ministry going on, and they met a narcissist and threw everything off.
Wow.
This narcissist is set deliberately to throw you off of your path. And especially when you're dealing with the rumination, you got to break through that because you have to make a willingly commitment to change the way of your thinking. You have to change the way of your thinking. And it has to be intentional, just like the narcissist comes at you intentionally asking for deeds to your house. You have to intentionally make it your business to say, hey, I'm going to do this instead of thinking about this person. Right. I know that I fell in love with a lie, and I accept that. There are some things that I could have done differently. I accept that. Now that I know this, what am I going to do differently? I'm not going to accept anything anymore that's less than my values because the narcissist has come into our lives making us question our values. Does anybody? I know everybody can testify that because a lot of things a lot of things like
you're on here all night long. We got to go back.
I mean, like I know I should have never did this, but I did it anyway because I was dealing with the narcissist. That's how you know this is not something sent from God. Marriages with narcissists are not sent from God. Yeah, I said it. But you can also be restored, just how in Joel we have a restoration. He restores what the locust has eaten. So with that being said, let's just all pray it out. And Father, we come to you with an open heart of repentance. We thank you so much for your word. We thank you for your truth. And thank you for opening our eyes to what is really going on. Father, we thank you so, so much. We
Yes.
know that according to Isaiah 54:17, your word declares that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And we have the power to condemn every evil tongue risen up against us in judgment. Father, they have lied on us. They threw our name all in the mud
Yes.
with the smear campaign. They have told things that we never even thought someone would say about us. Father, right now we condemn every evil tongue risen up against us in judgment. And Father, I would like to also say thank you. Thank you so much for bringing us together and sharing your word. Thank you, Father. We are just so grateful. And I also pray that every single thing that the locust, aka the evil one or the toxic individual, has eaten from us, stolen from us, the time wasted on the wrong individual, Father, please restore unto us according to Joel. Restore unto us what the locust has eaten. Father, we thank you. All of this in the mighty and matchless name of your Son, Jesus of Nazareth, or Yahushua Messiah, as we like to say. Thank you so very much, Father. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. And also, if you have not gotten the book yet, please go out and get it. Support your girl.
Yes.
Satan Plays Matchmaker, exploring the spiritual side of narcissism. This is not anything that you may find in your regular church service. I do into how familiar spirits set up relationships. It may sound far-fetched, but it happens. It definitely happens. And I just want to thank every single one of you guys, and make sure, even if you do have the book, can you please give it 5 stars? I just gotta throw that one in there, okay?
It definitely is. It's a good read.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. All right, everybody, have a very good night. Thank you for speaking.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Bye.